Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam. Good morning.
You don't trust the police.
Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam.
Good morning. Good morning. Kind of taking it back to the second intro song that we had done by Lawrence Jones. It is We Need to Know Wednesday. It is Wednesday, March 30th, 2022. And I'm about 2 weeks in for getting the date right. This morning, we are here with a friend, a brother, a great young man that works at an agency that is working to decrease the digital divide here in the state of Massachusetts. And in COVID and all that our young people went through with remote learning and needing computers and understanding that there is inequity when it comes to tech. There was the conversation around internet neutrality and things like that. And so we're getting ready to bring him in a couple of seconds. We're just going to go in and say good morning to folks. If you know some parents or some young people that need tech, that are interested in tech, that need a computer, make sure you hit the share button and get them into the room so they can hear this information. Without further ado, I would like to bring this brother in. He is here in his professional role, but he's my brother, and so I'm going to do my best to behave. But let's bring in the great Reverend, Doctor, Bishop, Apostle, Vicar of Christ, and great strategist, advocate, activist, orator, strategist. Did I cover everything, sir?
Man, all you needed to say was just a child of God, bro. We here. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Marvin, in all seriousness, good to see you in the room
today,
to see
you, brother.
How are you? Introduce yourself. Tell folks a little bit about you, and then we'll go into how you got to Tech Goes Home and talk about the great announcement you all made a few weeks ago and really have a conversation about tech equity.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. Marvin Vinay. I am the Chief Advocacy Officer at Tech Goes Home, Roxbury resident. And I'm just happy to be on here with Jimmy today. Very happy to see what you have produced over the last few years and really creating a platform for the community to have a voice. And so thank you for all that you're doing, brother. Absolutely.
And ditto to you. You've done a lot around educating the community in the electoral process and different things and help some folks that wanted to raise their voice in the elected area, help them sharpen their frequency. And so all that you've done in the community has definitely been awesome through the years. You're a dad, you're a designer. Don't get me. Well, you're here for work, so I won't get you in trouble, but
it's all right, man. Everybody knows, they know what I do, man. I don't hide who I am. You know,
yes,
I'm a pocket square designer.
Yes, sir.
Preacher.
Yep.
Father, a husband. I am a Black man, so I'm excited to just talk about this work and really showcase why this is a very serious matter in our community.
So let's go right into it, sir. What caused you to transition? Because last I knew, you were working at a program in Roxbury, and when the team reached out and they said you were going to be the guest, I was like, oh, okay. So it didn't surprise me that you're working in any space of equity, but particularly with tech. What drew you to Tech Goes Home? And then you can talk, well, you obviously probably mentioned their mission, but how did you wind up at Tech Goes Home? And what is, when you get up in the morning and either log on or go into the office, what is it about Tech Goes Home that drives you?
Man, that's a hell of a question. Let me say this. You know, I joined Tech Goes Home because I saw that they were advancing people to have access to digital equipment, and that they were ensuring that people learned through digital training. And so, during the pandemic, one of the biggest things that a lot of us faced were having this sort of challenge of being home with everyone simultaneously using the internet. And between my son, my daughter, my wife, myself, trying to balance that at times, there was a sort of challenge, right? You have there's the internet is working, then it's not working. Now we're paying for internet, right? We're in a position where we could have afforded it in that moment. And so, you would assume that you had the bandwidth to meet it. But then you were learning that, I remember I actually was delivering a sermon. I was delivering a sermon and I got cut off 3 times. And I'm near the router, right? And so I remember my son having to turn his camera off during class because it wouldn't allow for there to be, it wouldn't allow for it to flow simultaneously while everyone else was using their devices. And so when I heard about this opportunity at Tech Goes Home through a good friend of ours, I literally said, you know what? I'm not sure. Let me think about this. This is a great subject. But then when I started to interface with the team and learn about their experiences and the things in which they were doing, it made more sense to me, because then I could recognize that there were students who were struggling, mothers that were struggling, grandparents that were struggling, trying to access the digital world. And I said, why not? Why shouldn't I?
Yes, sir.
Right? Because it represents everything in which I have stood up for since the beginning of time, right? Why not take a stand and make sure that there's a voice in the state house and city government that represents those who are disenfranchised, not just from a poverty standpoint, but now we're talking about a digital equity standpoint, a position in which they should literally be able to participate like any other person without any distractions or any complications associated with it. And so when I talked to Tech Goes Home and I spoke to the leadership, I was very impressed by the work that they were doing. And I felt like it was something that I had no choice but to do. And so when the decision was made, I prayed on it, as we know, and I heard and I pursued. And it's been a great year or in a few months with them. I started out as the director of advocacy, was recently promoted to chief advocacy officer. And that is just a clear example of how this work moves quickly, but also how, your blessings flow. And Absolutely. So I'm just grateful.
I'm grateful that you're there, sir. And we heard the mission in your response to that hell of a question, as you mentioned. And there were folks in that are testifying, in a sense, to the benefit that Tech Goes Home has brought to their lives. You used the term in your post on IG where you talked about digital equity and tech equity, and equity, I'm a little bit afraid, is becoming sort of a very, if we're not careful, the cadence of it is I'm afraid it's going to become cliche. And so in the realm of this, sir, in the pandemic, and with people needing to apply for jobs, and a lot of jobs have went remotely, pre-pandemic, in pandemic, right, post-pandemic, Jesus, talk to me from the realm of digital equity in 2022. What does it mean? Because they hear the word, but what does it mean?
Well, digital equity is literally ensuring that everyone has a level playing field when it comes to the digital space. Number one. Number two, it is about making sure that those who are already impoverished, already only having the usage of a cell phone as their internet access point, actually have an opportunity to participate at a level that is complementary to some of their peers, right? I don't understand why, if you live in, I'm just using this neighborhood because it's reflective of some of the work we do, but if you have someone in Dorchester and they're not able to hop on the internet, do their schoolwork, complete that process, do full research comparatively to their peers in Wellesley, I don't understand why that shouldn't be able to happen, right? And so our goal is to eliminate that. as much as possible. So we're going into the libraries, we're going into the community centers, we're partnering with these organizations. We are using a train-the-trainer model. Our team is going out and making sure that they are teaching instructors on how to teach different courses. The courses are selected by the needs of the community. They are not selected by Tech Goes Home. We accommodate and tailor our programming to meet the people because we want the people to gain access to the information that is most useful for them.
So you got a little bit ahead of me with my next question, because I was going to ask how exactly, because in that same post you said, who is serving the community? So what hole is Tech Goes Home filling? Because the schools presumably and municipal governments were opening up the internet and children are getting, students getting Chromebooks. So where is that service piece that you refer to in the post? How are you guys serving? Go a little bit deeper in what you mentioned. Go ahead.
Listen, this model here is amazing. What we are able to do is very exciting. Number one, we are able to bring you into a setting that is either in person or virtual or hybrid, right? And what we're able to do is give you digital training, 15 hours of digital training on a subject or subjects of your choice, your selection, your group, your cohort selection. Let me clarify that. Yep. And then you are also given a Chromebook. And then you're given a year subscription of internet at no cost. At no cost.
At no cost.
At no cost.
Let me ask this just because I'm familiar and you were talking about bandwidth. With that free subscription, is it, let me ask, is it standard? Is it the highest bandwidth available within their locale? Because we'll get a little bit into this. Internet neutrality, based on what service you have, sometimes is dependent upon your neighborhood, how close you are to the station. And so if you could clarify that year's internet, what type of service do they get with?
So we're giving them a standard service. Okay. And what we have identified recently, I'm sure you might have heard of it. And if you haven't heard of it, the Affordable Cares Program through the FCC, where we are working towards trying to ensure that many of our learners get access to those benefits because they're offering a higher grade of internet. Okay. But at this stage, what we have been able to do is, and this is out of pocket for us. So when I say we're providing internet free to our learners, but it is a part of our budget.
Yeah.
So we invest in our learners because we want our learners to have the opportunity to at least get in the beginning stages of settling in and figuring out whether they're going into the workforce, whether they're going back to school, whether they need access to telehealth. We want to afford them that motion because what we understand is that if you get people started, you've given them you've given them a lead in the foot race, and now they're going to start to strive towards being able to access this thing in the manner in which it's best suited for them.
Thank you for the clarity. So you give them a standard subscription with advocacy to tap into even more what's going through the federal piece. You use the term, and I can't let you get away with using that term. You said investment. How do you consider this? Why does Tech Goes Home consider this an investment?
I consider an investment because I believe that our work is designed to ensure we are not only giving back, but we are making a deep investment in this particular demographic, right? 71% of the Latinx elders do not have an understanding of telemedicine. 60% of Black elders don't have the same. Right? You think about economic opportunity. There's 57% of Latinx workers who have limited or no digital skills. We're making an investment. We're investing in people at the root. So this isn't just about, right? This isn't just about, we want to give you a device and we just want to walk away from you. No, we want to make sure you are prepared and equipped to go out and create success in your life. We're trying to make generational change, right? So this is impact. This is not surface based.
Yes, sir.
So, go ahead.
Because I know you, I know that we can kind of go ahead. Natasha said it's not a Band-Aid program. It's an investment that's going to see folks through. Tell me one of your success stories. You talked about the leadership and being attracted there in the mission. But though you may not do direct service, I'm sure you've heard. What is one story, sir, that you heard about where it really hit you personally as Marvin?
Listen, let me tell you, I was doing a videotaping, and one of the participants, I had heard their name continuously throughout the team. They just raved about them and always said that they were an access point for supporting the work. And so I ended up in the room with them, and I heard this story. And this story was that they had participated in Tech Goes Home, well over 10 years ago. They had 4 children. And what they used to do was they got the computer, they did the program to get the computer. So let me take you a step back. Previous to where our offerings are currently, and previous to the pandemic, we were doing in-person learning. And during the in-person learning piece, what would happen is that you would complete the training, and then you would be able to purchase the Chromebook for $50, right? We did not offer internet at that point. Okay. We began to offer internet once the pandemic hit and we had to switch to a virtual platform. And then what we also did was we provided those computers in advance so that they could actually start the course with the computer. And we walked them through the process of opening the laptop, turning it on, et cetera, right? We went through that. Our team was very instrumental in making sure that that occurred. But let me take you a step back. This woman took the class in like I said, over 10 years ago. She had 4 kids. What she would do with the Chromebook, okay, and I can't recall, it wasn't a Chromebook at that point, but the computer was comparable in the device technology. The long and short is that what she would do is she would take all her children and she would create a time schedule for them. Okay. And so each child would get 2 hours a day to spend on the computer. And if you missed your time, then you didn't get access until the following day. And then she allocated time for herself so that she can learn different skills so that she could get into the workforce. One computer.
I was just going to say that, all on one system.
One system, 5 people. Okay. And so I got here and I said, listen, there's something we got to do differently about this. That story blew my mind. I went back to the team. I started doing calculations. You know how this works. I started doing calculations. How can we afford more devices? Right. And so we have not figured it out from a budgetary standpoint, but we want to figure it out because we believe in the mere fact that no one should be limited. And if we're going to make formidable change, that we have to start to step up in different manners, right? And we'll get there. It's not yet, but we'll get there. We're thinking along that line. And so that story blew my mind, brother.
Yes, sir.
Like I literally walked out of there. I remember walking out of there, walking home afterwards. I didn't even take a car. I walked home because I just needed to breathe because I felt how blessed I've been, but I've seen how much of a blessing she has been and how blessed she was even in that moment because she was able to configure what were the best steps for her and her family with this one computer. With
the limitations. And so let me jump right here, sir, because you being the chief advocacy officer and what you just said about, you all stepping up, there's an element of us stepping up as well. Do you move in policy, sir?
Absolutely. So policy is the direction we're moving towards, right? So when I was brought on board, it was to advocacy was a new world for the organization. And so what we have done in making inroads in state government, city government, the team was already, our leadership was already doing great things at the city level. And so when I came on board, I was able to help to really boost our platform and our base in the state house. Now what you have is we are shifting towards making change on the policy level. So there's different language that we're looking at, we're investigating right now through our research team and our support to make sure that we know what is working in other parts of the country and what needs to operate here to create success for our learners on the ground. Because reality is we need to make sure that our ISPs are held accountable as it relates to how the levels are being managed for who gets what access point to internet levels. 2, we need to make sure that we are changing how it is that people actually get these resources, right? And so you can't change policy without engaging community. And we believe that the community has to be at the base of the work. So now it's about us going out, doing focus groups, having conversations, and learning what is going on the ground. Because although we give out these resources, we still have to do data collecting. So, you know, this is expansive, but again, it begins at the community, and that leads to the policy change, because that has to be the driving force.
So the reason I asked that, and I actually didn't see Donald's question before I asked you that, because when it comes to policy, we know that you know this. There's power in numbers. And so please make sure you get me information when there are hearings, focus groups, or whatever, so we can get
absolutely. Listen, you know that there's a wave with this, right? This is not a Marvin walk in the room, make a decision. This is a bring the community with you. This is also like we're talking about creating plans where we can actually walk into the community, have meetings with folks, learn what their stories are, bring them to the State House, bring them to City Hall. You participate in a hearing. We walk you through your preparation if we can, right? So that we make sure that you're going up there and you are representing your best self. Because that's a part of the process, right? Some people, what we do is we like to love on community, but we don't support them in investing in how they prepare and deliver themselves. What I'm saying is that we have to figure out a way where we're talking about this subject matter from such an intellectual level that people are inclined to listen and want to be a part of the solution. I'm tired of hearing about the problem. I want to talk about what the solutions are.
Yes, sir. I know you're feeling a little bit of your help there. No. Ooh, but no, in all seriousness, Marvin, it was so because even on the platform, I was getting inboxes and behind the scene because of a connection with the teachers union, navigating students. And let's just say this because I'm focusing on students a lot, but we have a couple of folks in here who aren't I'm going to get in trouble, who have graduated from high school, let's put it like that have often referred that it's not just for young people. This is for, what is the design?
We service ages 3 to 96. We got a wide range.
93 years. So if someone starts at 3 next year,
if you are 3 years old, we offer you an iPad. Okay, because we want to get that intuitive learning early. Okay. If you're 96, we're making sure that you can do your telehealth appointments from your home, because we don't want you catching 3 or 4 buses. We don't want you trying to figure out who's going to pick you up and drop you off, if you can take the ride or you can't take the ride. Like, we're trying to prevent you from having to continue to be challenged to get somewhere.
So what I just heard there, there are byproducts from you working with them in a tech internet neutrality space. The byproducts of that is they have access to health. They have access to research. They can complete their school assignments.
They can apply for a job.
What is one area of challenge that we need to be aware of that we can support and work with you, in addition to when the call goes out to show up and participate? What is something that folks can do right now in the moment in reference either to policy, supporting you all? I'm going to put the website information up here. There it is. It's basically techgoeshome.org. And I'll ask you about the next cohort or whatever, but where is there area of challenge where folks can jump in and have the greatest impact in supporting what you guys are doing?
Number one, I want people to understand that this is a social and racial justice issue. Let's not look at this as just, I don't have access to a computer, I don't have the internet. I want you to understand that the digital divide separates those who have and those who do not. And it's not a line written in the ground. You can be next door. Your next door neighbor could have access and you don't. Yep. It's that simple. Yep. And so we need people to understand that this is larger than what it's perceived to be. Right. And then we need to start talking about what conversations are we having as it relates to it? Are we talking about this? Is this conversation that we're engaging in, or is this something that we're just picking up when we find it to be useful in the moment? We really have to start talking about, how we're going to make the investment to ensure that our peers and our friends and the people that we know, people in our churches, people in our community centers, people that we walk past on the street have access points to actually participate in this digital world. We have to. So if you're asking how you can help Tech Goes Home, I think a lot of it is going to stem from ensuring that the community centers near you have figured out a way of supporting this work if they're not already supporting this work. I would also say encouraging people to participate at their local community centers to make sure that those who are offering our programs are participating and that they are able to actually take the time. Some people are embarrassed for others to know that they do not have the digital skills.
Can you speak to that?
Let's take away that fear.
Yeah, let's demystify that in a moment.
Sure.
Why should folks not be ashamed or not be embarrassed if they aren't at a perceived certain familiarity or tech level? Why should they not be embarrassed by that?
Because we all are learning. We're learners. Naturally, we're learners, right? And each of us learns something new each day. My 16-year-old teaches me things that I thought that I had surpassed. I thought I had already achieved. I thought that I was aware of. And I've learned time and time again that I'm learning something new. And you would ask yourself, should I feel inferior and weak, or should I empower myself and take the step towards growth? Right? So anybody who feels like that they are disconnected because they don't have the digital skills to do it, I would encourage you to take a leap and jump towards trying to start small, right? Start at the beginning and then take your time to grow and understand that it's a process, and understand that each day that you go without digital skills, you are further limiting yourself to growth in that space when you could be taking small little steps to get you to a point where you are running an entire meeting using tech. It can happen.
So what I heard there was, rather than feeling inferior or embarrassed, that you're actually being courageous when you step out, and you're empowering yourself, and you are, for lack of better words, getting yourself up with the times. Because truth of the matter is, Marvin,
hold on one second. You're creating generational change.
Go deeper.
I think the important part here is that if we are able to, and I tell folks all the time that if we're able to change one family member's access point to the digital world, we have now helped them to help the one behind them navigate a little easier. And we're able to now get an entire household out of the disconnect on the other side, so that their children benefit from them understanding the usage of a computer. I'll tell you something real simple. I went home, as you know, I'm from Pittsburgh, went to my house in Pittsburgh and literally saw my first computer. Unbelievable.
Commodore? What was it?
Commodore. What's it?
Cartridge.
The cartridge. There you go. The cartridge insert. Right.
Yep.
Okay. But if I think about it, how long did it take my family to afford that
back then? Jeez.
Back then, to the point that my first real computer after that was when I got to college. Okay, because I had a scholarship, not because we had the finances, because I got a scholarship. So if that's my experience, can you imagine someone else's experience who did not have the resources, or a family member who understood anything about technology to engage them? We have to become responsible for the future.
So we can, as older folks and seasoned folks, we need to do our best with understanding that, as much as we can, embrace this, because it is the way that we're going, and it ties into health and generational health. What can you speak to where there's a reference in one of the comments about like a waiting list. You all are in high demand. Is that correct?
Yes,
Cohort.
and I will tell you quickly that our team has grown through the pandemic. I think prior to the pandemic, we were at about 5 to 6 team members, maybe 7. We are now sitting at 16, um, and so I am one of the benefactors of that growth. And what I'll tell you is that we are still trying to accommodate our growth. Our capacity is very limited in some ways. Our
Yep.
program team, they work endlessly. I mean, they are not just working to set up the program; they're triaging work afterwards. So if your auntie has went through a program and still needs support, our program team is triaging that and providing that walkthrough to ensure that auntie still has the ability to continue on with her work despite her not being in the classroom. So we are growing, but we're also expanding.
Okay.
We're looking to move into the Springfield and Worcester area as well. We're in conversations in those spaces as well. We are in Essex County right now, working with the Essex County Community Fund. So we are right now situated in about 11 gateway cities, 18 municipalities. We're serving over 4,100 learners, 240 certified instructors. We are growing significantly, but it takes time. It takes time, it takes time and I'll tell you, because a particular group came to us recently and we had to say that we had to push out the pilot date because of the capacity of our team right now. So we're trying our best to create the coverage for each of our team members to make sure they're insured to do their work, and then we can actually produce for our learners and our instructors at the maximum level that we have.
So I think that that's even more important to when things like policy come up in funding, to where you all can get more funding. And that's one of the reasons we're here today. So we can't go without. What was the big announcement that you all made that got you into the room today? But before we go there, I just wanted to mention to Sharon that there is sort of a backlog in getting to folks. So give them grace as much as they can, because there is so much of a demand. But Sharon, thanks for letting Marvin know, and they are aware that there is a backlog.
Absolutely. And I want you to know, Sharon, that we're doing our best to fulfill that backlog. So I don't want you to assume that that this is something that we are not doing the work to try to get accomplished. So it takes a lot. It takes a lot.
It does. And I mean, from it, yeah, being familiar with intakes and things like that. What was I just getting ready to ask you? I forgot that quick.
And I'll add to Sharon that we've also just brought on 2 team members, so some of that backlog will get addressed in a few months. So just understand that we are doing the work necessary behind the scenes to try to make sure we take care of that.
Okay. What was the major announcement that you all got as far as support recently? We definitely have to talk about that, because that was the catalyst in me saying, hey, come on, tell us.
Yeah, so we were fortunate to receive our first international investor by the organization called QBE, who's an insurer. They are based in New York. They afforded us $100,000.
Yes, sir.
And it is really to support our expanded access for internet, digital devices, and training and so forth. So we are trying our best to use those funds appropriately, because, as Sharon's already indicated, the demand is high, and we have a lot of individuals out there who we want to be of service to. Right? If it's up to me, I would have every church, I'd have every community center, I'd have every school, I would have every park filled with individuals who are willing to learn and ready to learn. But the reality is that we are a small organization. Even at the size that we are at 16, we are still a small organization, and we're trying to accomplish these goals. But I'm very proud of the team that we have. I'm very proud of what they've been able to accomplish. I'm very proud to see how they are able to dissect some of the challenges each and every day to make sure that the learners' experiences are enhancing. And we are trying to figure out new ways of expanding those opportunities for our learners. I'll just give you a future outlook. We are looking at how do we create a digital library, and for some additional training so that, you can pop on our website and do some of that work. We have some of it up right now, but there's ways in which we are trying to figure out how to advance some of our learners a little bit as well as we're trying to figure out ways to lead them into the workforce, into actual job employment. So there are different things in which and avenues in which we are navigating right now. But I just want you to understand that we're not stopping at just one transactional moment when you come into a classroom, whether you are in person or virtual, and you take a course, receive a computer and internet, and we move away from you. We're trying to figure out ways where we can continue that and really build upon those efforts. So we just thank all of the folks who support us. We thank all of our learners for their willingness to invest in us as we participate in educating them. And we thank our instructors who are doing a magnificent job. TGH is really just excited to be in this space. And I will say to you that TGH is doing some real strategic thinking around how do we spread this out across Massachusetts to a point where we can make inroads in a lot of the gateway cities where people are already suffering and try to give them some hope.
Dr. Vinay, it was a pleasure having you in the room today. It's good to know that this is out there in the space that I move in. I remember a couple of times when my bandwidth in the pandemic, I'm sitting there. I had Ayanna on and it cut off, and I was like, she was like, "No, you're okay." I was
right.
heated.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know. I get it.
So I appreciate you getting this information out. Everybody take a screenshot, or if you can, remember techgoeshome.org. You can go there to get more information. I'm sure they put their actions up there where we need to, if there are bills and things that come out from the state or local level. But this is where you can go to get the information going forward. If you know parents and young people that are interested in STEM but may not have a system at home, tag them in this video, get them the website so they can find out how they can get resources and training and information. I'm just going to go.
Can I leave one question?
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Sure. Just want you all to check out our advocacy page at techgoeshome.com/advocacy. Feel free to review some of the work in which we have already contributed. If you have ideas, if you have thoughts, feel free to email me. My email is on our website. I'm happy to have a conversation and see how we can become contributors to some of the work that you're doing and become a partner.
Brother, I appreciate you. We just have one question. Thank you so much in the background there. We just have one question that Pastor Marion, who is a graduate of Tech, goes home.
Pastor Marion.
Yes, from United Emmanuel.
Absolutely.
Marvin, do you know who the organizations that's offering grants to programs offering this service for seniors?
I do not know the particulars, but what I will do is work with my development team to figure out the solution and get back to you. So
all right,
you'll hear from me in the next few days.
All right, and I'll get that over to Pastor Marion.
I tell her I'll reach out to her directly. I'll take care.
Okay, and she said Marion. And so Pastor, I've been calling you that for 2 years, and all of a sudden today you're going to be Marion. Marvin, I appreciate you, sir. You know the platform is here and available to the team that made this happen. We definitely appreciate you. And I look forward to bringing you back in other capacities and chatting.
Yeah, let's have some fun.
Okay, sir.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yes, sir. All day. Thank you, man. Listen, everybody, that was Marvin Vinay from Tech Goes Home. And if you are not aware or was not aware of what they're offering, you now are. And so go check out that information here at the website. This is the advocacy site, but if you just drop the advocacy and Google Tech Goes Home, you will get information to find out about their cohort, and also Marvin's information is there as well. Just a couple of programming notes. Please remember, we had we had Professor Brooks on last week. This event is taking place starting next Thursday in the afternoon. I will be going live on Friday morning. I got to get the paperwork back. So we're going to cover this on Friday morning. And also remember, this Saturday, there is the Connect event that's being sponsored by the Secret Society of Black Creatives. We had Malik Williams on yesterday. That was a whole affirmation, almost private session for me myself. And tomorrow is recognized as Trans Visibility Day. And so this afternoon, because of his schedule, I'm going to record with a young man by the name of Kamar Porter. And Kamar is going tomorrow. I'm going to air that. And Kamar is going to share his story, talk about the work he's doing, and talk about being visible as a trans man. And so that's taking place tomorrow at 9 a.m. And I am excited to have this conversation. I knew Kamar before transitioning, and I'm so proud of the wonderful work that he's doing to address mental health, health issues in the LGBTQIA plus community, specifically with trans men and women. And so that's taking place tomorrow at 9 a.m. I definitely need you guys to come back and learn about all that trans men and women have to deal with to be visible. All right. Tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. I'm just going to check a couple of more comments. Hey, what's up, Keys? Dave, what's up, brother? Good to see you. Are you still doing all those wonderful posts with all your wonderful sayings that just encourage people, make you think for a minute? Good to see you in the room, brother. Keys, good to see you in the room as well. All right, folks, I got to get off of here and get ready to get downtown and take care of some business. But we will see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. with Kamar Porter. I am so excited. Where in the world are you? Today is the 30th, so I have an idea. I didn't get down there by tomorrow, but anyway, I appreciate you, brother. You don't know how we don't talk every day and all of that, but you are a good brother, and I appreciate you, man. All right, folks, I am getting off of here. Thank you so much, Naraki. Yes, sir. You know, you over this dude, real estate mogul, international traveler, but a real humble dude, great father. And so appreciate you, man. Really do. We need to get you on here one day. Just hear some of your philosophy around a few things. And we have had you on, I think. No, that was Man Cave early in the pandemic. That was private. That wasn't on Facebook. All right, I'm getting off of here before I get in trouble. We will see you guys tomorrow at 9 a.m. with Kamar Porter for Trans Visibility Day. And then also next week, we're going to talk managing stress with Dr. Ronke for Your Healthy Java. On Wednesday, Arthur Eugene Schneeberg is coming in. He used to work for the Obama administration in the father's programming there out of the White House. And Eugene is an Arthur now, and a young man that I've known for many, many years. We used to work at a youth facility detention center back in the day. And then on the 7th, who's coming on the 7th? 5th, 6th, 7th. Oh, on the 7th, Yahaira Lopez and Domingo DeRosa, South End Roxbury Partnership. They're going to come and give us an update about Methadone Mile next Thursday. And so please be prepared to come in next week. Dr. Brandy will be with us Monday. The week after that, we're working on some programming. I need you all to save the dates of June 3rd, June 12th, and June 19th. There's 4 dates in June where Java is going to be on the road and doing some things in person. Is next week is a girls' B-Day. All right, watch out there now. June is going to be very busy, very, very busy. There's a lot going on in June, Lord Jesus. And on July 5th, out of here. All right, y'all have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m.